everyone. Welcome to another English Solutions for Business and Life video, Full Blast Book, A1.1 Beginners Course, Module 1. Who are you? In this module, we will be looking at a couple of topics such as the verb to be, possessive adjectives, and question words. And on the vocabulary side, we will continue looking at countries or nationalities, jobs, how to tell the time and ask the time, the days of the week, and school subjects. So, let's begin. Let's look at the positive or affirmative form of the verb to be by looking at some examples. I am Mexican. Am is the I form of the verb to be. Mexican is a person who comes from Mexico. You are Italian. Are is the verb to be conjugation for you as well as we and they, while Italian is a person who comes from Italy. Another word in the vocabulary. Another example, he is French. Is being the he form of the verb to be. We also use is for she and it. He is French. French being the person who comes from France. Now let's look at the negative form of the verb to be. For example, to use the negative form, we will use or add a not at the end of the sentence or the conjugation. Let's look at an example. I am not English. Remember, am is the I form of the verb to be, while English is a person who comes from England. I am not English, meaning that I do not come from England. Another example, we are not Chinese. Are being the be form, be conjugation for we. You can remember that are is used for you and they as well. Chinese being a person who comes from China. Another example, she is not Brazilian. Again, is the she conjugation for the verb to be. And as you can remember, is used for he and it, while Brazilian is a person who comes from Brazil. Here we can shorten these sentences by taking out the O from the not and adding an apostrophe. Joining these words are and not, and it would give us we aren't Chinese in this case. Also, in this example, we take out the O, add an apostrophe, and join these words, and it will give us isn't. She isn't Brazilian. They are both negative, but both of these shortened forms, aren't and isn't, are used only when speaking, not when writing. Or at least not most of the time. Lastly, let's look at the question form of the verb to be. In the question form, we will put the verb before the subject, then the pronoun, and the question mark. For example, is he Spanish? First the verb, then the subject, and then what we're asking. In this case, is he Spanish? Spanish being a person who comes from Spain. Is he Spanish? If the answer is no, we would say no, he isn't. Or no, he is not. If the answer is yes, we would say yes, he is. We normally don't just say yes or no. We normally add the full answer after each of these words. Yes, he is, or no, he is not. Let's look at another example. Are you Hungarian? Are being the verb, you being the subject, and Hungarian being a person who comes from Hungary. Are you Hungarian? Yes, I am. Now let's look at the rest of the words in the vocabulary for countries. We already saw Brazil, and Brazilian, China and Chinese, England and English, France and French, Hungary and Hungarian, Italy and Italian, Mexico and Mexican, Spain and Spanish. And a person who is from Greece will be a Greek. A person who's from Peru would be a Peruvian. And finally, in the vocabulary, a person who's from Poland will be Polish. Now let's look at possessive adjectives. Possessive adjectives show possession, something that belongs to someone and who it belongs to. For example, my aunt is an actress. Here the possessive adjective is my. Aunt is my mother or my father's sister. An actress is a person who acts. Let's look at another example. His uncle is a chef. His is the possessive adjective for he. Earlier we mentioned that my is the possessive adjective for I. Uncle is my father or mother's brother. And chef is a person who works cooking. The other example, her. Her cousin is a nurse. Her is the possessive adjective for she. Cousin is my aunt or uncle's son or daughter. A nurse is a person who helps sick people. Her cousin is a nurse. Now let's go to another example. Your brother is a delivery person. Here, your is the possessive adjective for you. Brother, we know who that is. And a delivery person, well, it's a person who works by delivering things like pizza or mail. Let's look at another example. Our father is a doctor. Our is the possessive adjective for we. Here we're talking about father, our father. And doctor is an occupation or a job of a person who cures sick people. Their mother is a salesperson. Here, their is the possessive adjective for they. Mother is the object of this sentence. Their mother. And salesperson is another job of a person who works by selling stuff. Let's now look at the singular and plural possessive adjectives. For I, it's my. For you, it's your. For he, it's his. For she, it's her. For it, it's its. For we, it's our. For you, it's your. And for they, it's their. Now let's look at some other jobs. We already saw a few, but let's look at some other examples. Bus driver, police officer, secretary, taxi driver, and waiter or waitress. Waiter is for males and waitress is for females. Now we will look at how to tell the time. If you don't know the time, you could ask someone, "What time is it?" "What time is it?" Depending on the time, they could answer, "It's 6 o'clock." "It's 6 o'clock." "It's 3:30." "It's 3:30." "It's 4:45." "It's 4:45." "It's 2:15." "It's 2:15." Now, why do we use quarter, quarter to, and quarter after? Well, in this case, 4:45 means that it's 5 minus a quarter of an hour. So, 4:45. And here, in the example below, it's 2:15. So 2 plus a quarter, or 2:15. So, we have learned so far the following words: o'clock, 30 or half. You can say it's 3:30 or it's 3:30, and they both mean the same thing. 3:30 or 3:30. Also learn the word quarter. Quarter to or quarter after. Quarter to means the time and that we take off a quarter, and quarter after means the time and that we add a quarter. So, quarter to 6, quarter after 6. We can also specify if the time is in the morning or in the afternoon. Generally, by adding AM or PM after the time. So if it's morning and it's 2 or 3, we'd say it's 2:10 a.m., which is in the morning, almost past midnight. If it's 8:15, but in the afternoon, we would say that it's 8:15 p.m. nighttime. 12 a.m. would be midnight, which is another word from the vocabulary list, while 12 p.m. would be noon. Now, following up this topic of time, let's look at the days of the week. In a normal calendar, with the week beginning after the weekend, the first day would be Monday. Next would be Tuesday. Then would be Wednesday. Next would be Thursday. Then Friday. And the weekend. Saturday and Sunday. So if you don't know what day of the week it is, you would say, what day is it? To ask a question. The answer could be, it's Thursday. Now, we've learned a lot of vocabulary words. So now let's learn some question words. Let's begin with who. Who is a question word we use to ask things about people. For example, who is that? That is my friend. Kim. Next question word, what. We use what to ask questions about things, animals, and actions. For example, what is your favorite school subject? You could say music or art or math. In this case, you are talking about things, in this case, subjects. Now let's look at the next one. Where. Where is a word we use to ask questions about places, like, where are you from? You could say, I'm from Mexico. I'm from Mexico. And there are some other two question words. How are you? We use this to ask about someone's health or to find out someone's news. Like, how are you? You could answer, fine. Thanks. In an informal situation. And lastly, how old? We use this to ask about someone's age. We could say, or we could ask, how old is your brother? And the answer could be, he's 14. Another question, how old are you? And you would answer, I'm, and your age. Now, in this module, we also learned a question. What's your favorite kind of music? We learned a couple of types of music or kinds of music. Like, for example, I like hip hop. Or he likes jazz. Or we like pop. Hip hop, jazz, and pop are all kinds of music. Another example, they like rock. Rock being another kind of music. We could also ask someone, what instrument do you play? Or what instrument does he play or she plays. We learned the word play and that it applies to musical instruments. For example, drums, guitar, keyboard, drums, guitar, keyboard, piano, or violin. We could answer, I like to play an instrument. Drums. I like to play guitar, etc. Lastly, the last question, what school subject do you like? We already looked at a few. Music, art, math, now let's look at some others. English, geography, history, PE or gym, and science. Now we finished all the vocabulary words. So, study well and see you next video. Thank you very much for paying attention to this video. We'll meet again on the next English Solutions for Business and Life video, Module 2.